Word leaked fast. First through whispers, then through reporters who just happened to be watching, when Shedeur Sanders put on the most surgical, savage quarterback performance in recent Browns practice history. We're talking deep balls on a string, threading needles between veteran DBs, running 2-minute drills like he was born in the huddle. And the reaction? Silence. Shock. Then, the only sound that mattered, a slow-building eruption from the sideline. Even Browns players couldn't hide it. If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed. Linemen yelling, "Let's go," after throws. Receivers slapping helmets and chest bumping. Defensive backs just shaking their heads like, damn, he's him. In a matter of hours, the locker room's energy shifted. Guys who were politely towing the line, respecting Stefanski's Flacco plan or Gabriel's shot, suddenly weren't whispering anymore. They were talking. Loudly. That's our guy. He's ready now. Why is he still scout team? You don't have to be a team insider to know what comes next. Chaos. Power struggles. A head coach trying to regain control of a narrative that slipped away the moment Shedeur threw his first red zone laser into double coverage and completed it anyway. Because the QB battle? It's not a battle anymore. It's a coronation. And Shedeur's the only one with the crown that fits. And that's exactly why Kevin Stefanski looks like he's aged 5 years and 5 days. The man made his choice weeks ago, banking on experience, routine, and what he thought was NFL readiness in Joe Flacco. He completely overlooked the rocket fuel potential standing right behind him. Even worse, he backed Dillon Gabriel as QB2, and Dillon's been unraveling ever since. You want to talk about contrast? While Shedeur is commanding attention without saying a word, Gabriel is spiraling. Poor decisions, erratic throws, visible frustration during drills. And the latest? Rumors swirling that he's on the trade block. How did we get here so fast? It's simple. Shedeur exposed everyone. He exposed the coaching staff's rigid thinking. He exposed Gabriel's shaky confidence. And, let's be honest, he exposed Stefanski's total misread of where this team actually wants to go. Because here's the truth no one in that facility can deny anymore. The players want Shedeur. The fans want Shedeur. The owner wants Shedeur. The only person who doesn't? The guy with a headset. And that has become the story. Forget QB controversies. This is a philosophical war between what the Browns have always been and what they could be. Because Shedeur Sanders doesn't just represent a talented quarterback. He represents a new mindset, a rejection of safe, slow, conservative football. He's confidence, urgency, and charisma packaged into a QB who already looks 10 years ahead of where most rookies are. And his debut? Electric. Let's talk about that game. Shedeur didn't just do well. He came in, took control, and turned what was supposed to be a sleepy preseason filler into his personal statement game. Final score? Lopsided. Sanders? Immaculate. One drive in. He was calling audibles like he'd been in the system for years. By the second, he was outdueling the defense on timing routes they didn't even know existed. And when he capped off the final drive with a 28-yard sideline bullet into triple coverage on 4th down, the stadium lost its mind. Suddenly, every camera was pointed at him. Every analyst had his name trending. Every fan who'd been begging for a quarterback to believe in found one. And yet, Stefanski stood at the post-game mic, red-faced, defensive, and still trying to downplay it. It's just one game. He still has a lot to learn. We're sticking to our development plan. Sir, what development plan? The one where you let your best quarterback rot in practice while you double down on Joe Flacco's nostalgia tour? Come on. Even ownership isn't buying that anymore. Reports are swirling that Jimmy Haslam is heavily involved now, pushing for a long-term commitment to Shedeur and meeting with the analytics department about reshaping the team's offensive identity around him. Translation? Stefanski's leash just got real short. Because when your owner, your roster, your fans, and your entire social media presence are all screaming the same thing, you listen, or you get out of the way. What makes this even more fascinating is how calm Shedeur has remained through it all. He hasn't gloated, hasn't thrown shade, hasn't engaged in media baiting. He just keeps showing up, outperforming everyone, and letting the results humiliate the system that tried to sideline him. That's what's really breaking Stefanski. He can't spin it. He can't deny it. He can't even outcoach it. Because Shedeur's doing everything right without playing the game. And now that the world is watching, there's nowhere left to hide. So what now? Well, let's call it what it is. This is Shedeur's team now. And the Browns? They're finally acting like it. Depth chart adjustments are already happening. Practice reps are shifting. Playbooks are being rewritten. The energy in that building is no longer, if he's the future. It's, how soon can we start building around him? And as for Dillon Gabriel, he's either going to swallow his pride and embrace a backup role, or he's headed out the door before midseason. Because the QB room isn't big enough for one rising superstar and one shaken prospect who's watching his window slam shut. And Kevin Stefanski? He's coaching for his job. Period. Because if Shedeur succeeds, and all signs point to that being inevitable, people are going to start asking why it took this long for the Browns to hand him the keys. This isn't just a quarterback transition. This is a full-blown cultural shift. A franchise that's always clung to cautious optimism is finally waking up to something bigger, something bold, something electric, something prime. And the NFL better be ready. Because if Shedeur Sanders can keep this momentum going, and all signs say he can, we're witnessing the rise of the next face of the league. And Cleveland could finally have its guy. So what do you think? Did Stefanski blow it from the start? Is Gabriel's time in Cleveland already over? And is Shedeur Sanders the spark this franchise has been waiting for since forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's hear it. And if you want more drama, meltdowns, and quarterback chaos straight from the heart of the NFL's most dysfunctional franchises, hit that subscribe button. Because if Shedeur keeps playing like this, we're not just watching a breakout season. We're watching a Browns revolution, a full-blown locker room revolt, a seismic cultural shift that's pulling Cleveland out of the Stone Age and dragging them, whether they like it or not, into the modern NFL, where talent doesn't sit and reputation doesn't guarantee playing time. And Shedeur, he's not asking for the throne. He's earning it, over and over and over again. Let's zoom in on the moment everything flipped. After weeks of being ignored, demoted, and boxed into a development role, Shedeur gets his shot. One game, one opportunity. A meaningless preseason matchup in the eyes of some, until it turned into a masterclass, a clinic, a humiliation for everyone who doubted him. And especially for the man who chose to keep him on ice while pretending Joe Flacco and Dillon Gabriel were the future. Flacco looked like a man pulled out of retirement mid-brunch. Gabriel looked like he was battling ghosts. And Shedeur? Shedeur looked like he'd been starting in the NFL for 5 years. Perfect footwork, pocket presence, command, anticipation, audibles, silent counts, blitz pickups. Like, are we serious right now? And what did Stefanski do afterward? Nothing. Said it was encouraging, that he still had a lot to learn. No, Kev, you have a lot to learn. Because while Stefanski was busy doubling down on his old-school development model, his beloved quarterback incubation period, Shedeur had already cracked the code. While the staff was pushing talking points about patience and system mastery, Shedeur was mastering the room. Let's talk about that locker room. What no one in the front office expected. And what Stefanski clearly underestimated was how quickly players would gravitate toward Shedeur. It's not just his arm. It's not even just the production. It's the way he carries himself. Quiet but confident. Serious but magnetic. Not trying to be the loudest voice, but always the most respected. You talk to receivers after practice, they're not talking about who's taking snaps with the ones. They're talking about timing with Shedeur. You watch the sideline during games, the energy spikes when he's in. The players start to believe. And here's the kicker. That kind of thing, you can't coach it. You can't plan it. It's either in you or it's not. And Shedeur, he's got it in spades. Meanwhile, Dillon Gabriel is out here throwing pick sixes in practice scrimmages and loses his mind at offensive line protections. You can see the cracks forming in real time. It's the classic meltdown arc of a player who realizes he's losing control of the narrative, and fast. Sources have already floated the T-word: trade. Teams are sniffing around, asking what it would take to pry Gabriel loose. And let's be real. If you got Shedeur Sanders waiting in the wings and a locker room ready to rally behind him, do you really need a backup quarterback who's as rattled? It's not just a demotion. It's a departure waiting to happen. But this isn't just about Gabriel, or Flacco, or even Stefanski, whose coaching seat has somehow gone from warm to actively melting in a matter of weeks. This is about a franchise finally facing its own reflection. Because for years, the Browns have been desperate for a quarterback savior. Not a flash in the pan, not a journeyman with 2 good games and a career of injuries. A real, long-term face of the franchise quarterback. They thought they had it with Baker. That ended in flames. They tried to buy it with Deshaun. We know how that saga played out. And then, quietly, almost by accident, they drafted Shedeur Sanders. And now, they're trying to act like they didn't just hit the lottery. Except the entire football world is screaming the truth they're too stubborn to admit. Shedeur Sanders is the future of this franchise. Not 2 seasons from now. Not after he develops. Now. And the longer they wait to make it official, the worse this is going to get. Because you can only gaslight your fan base for so long before they start showing up to games with signs that say, "Free Shedeur." You think that's a joke? Give it 2 more weeks of Flacco flopping and Gabriel ghosting. Give it 1 more Sander performance that lights up social media. The fans are already making noise. Chants at training camp. Hashtags. Jersey sales. Ownership has noticed. You can bet on that. Reports say Haslam is pushing hard behind the scenes a pivot. Fast. The brand is hot. The stadium is buzzing. And in the NFL, when your fan base finally sees a light at the end of the tunnel, you don't let your head coach extinguish it just because he likes playing favorites. So what happens next? Here's the prediction. Kevin Stefanski is going to reevaluate the quarterback situation after the next game. It'll be spun as a team-first decision. Something about wanting to put the best guys in the best positions to succeed. Translation: Shedeur is getting the start. Because if Stefanski doesn't make that move, he won't just lose the locker room. He'll lose the franchise. The Browns are standing at a fork in the road. One path leads to mediocrity. The other, to transformation. To finally becoming the kind of team that doesn't just develop a great quarterback, but recognizes one when they've got him. And Shedeur Sanders? He's not waiting for anyone's permission. He's already taken the field, already taken the locker room, already taken over the narrative. Now he's coming for franchise. The only question is, will Cleveland finally get out his way? Shedeur Sanders, the so-called developmental pick, the 5th-round flyer, the locker room underdog, has turned the entire Cleveland Browns organization upside down, without even saying a word. And that's the scariest part. He didn't lobby for this. He didn't throw shade. He didn't demand a trade or stage a media tour. He just showed up. He prepared. He studied. He outworked. He outperformed. He made everyone around him better. And now, he's backed Kevin Stefanski and Dillon Gabriel into a corner so tight. You need an NFL Films crew just to zoom out and get perspective. Let's talk about Stefanski. This man really thought he could outcoach momentum, outplan the inevitable. He believed that sticking to the process would shield him from having to answer the one question he's been ducking all season. Why isn't Shedeur Sanders your starting quarterback? Not your backup. Not your scout team darling. Not your "we're developing him" talking point. Your starter. Because every snap he takes says what Stefanski won't. He's already better than everyone else in that quarterback room. And let's not forget the timeline here. It's been weeks, since the QB controversy boiled over, and Stefanski still thinks he can manage the optics, that he can throw in a few trick plays with Flacco, let Gabriel do cleanup duty, and just quietly ride out the storm until the fan base calms down. But guess what? The fan base isn't calming down. They're gearing up. Signs are starting to show up at practice. Let 2 cook. Shedeur, Etienne, bench the past. Play the future. There are kids in the crowd wearing custom Browns jerseys with Sanders on the back and QB1 stitched underneath. And that's not marketing. That's not Nike. That's grassroots fandom rising up to claim the player the coaches keep pretending isn't ready. And the locker room? Oh, it's already decided. Multiple insiders are now reporting that Shedeur's influence inside team meetings is increasing dramatically. He's leading film breakdowns. He's correcting route calls. Veteran wideouts are asking to work with him during walkthroughs. Even linemen, traditionally the most loyal to whoever's under center, have started lobbying behind closed doors for Shedeur to get more reps. You can't fake that kind of momentum. You can't control it. All you can do is get out of the way. And Dillon Gabriel? Bless his heart. But it's clear he's completely unraveling. He can feel it, the moment slipping away. You see it in the forced smiles, the rushed decision-making, the mid-practice yelling at receivers who ran the right route. It's classic quarterback collapse behavior. Not because he's untalented, but because he knows, deep down, that no matter how many reps he gets, he's not that guy. Not this guy. And you know it's bad when the defense starts chirping. Word is, even some defensive backs are teasing Gabriel in practice, shouting bring in Sanders after every tip pass or mistimed throw. That's not just trash talk. That's mutiny. That's a fractured roster looking for a leader they can actually believe in. Meanwhile, Shedeur's just over there throwing lasers, checking into run packages like a seasoned vet, smiling like he already knows how this all ends. Because he does. And now, so does everyone else, including ownership. Haslam has gone from monitoring the situation to taking meetings about marketing strategy centered around Sanders. You think that's just about jersey sales? Think again. It's about franchise identity. The Browns have spent the better part of 2 decades cycling through quarterbacks like a bad dating app, swiping left on talent, right on hype, ghosting development altogether. But now, finally, they have someone with the tools, the mindset, the brand, and the leadership to build around. And they're going to let a coach with a clipboard full of excuses keep him on the bench? Please. If Shedeur isn't starting by the next regular season game, expect more than just boos from the crowd. Expect media firestorms, fan walkouts, local talk radio turning into a war zone. The Browns don't have the luxury of waiting to see. The clock already struck 0. The only question is whether Stefanski wants to be the coach who launched the Sanders era or the one who got fired for delaying it. Because let's be honest, even Shedeur's haters are running out of excuses. First, it was he needs time. Then it was he hasn't played against top defenses. Then it was he hasn't led a real drive. Now, he's torching first-team defenses in scrimmages. He's leading fourth-quarter comebacks in preseason. He's reading the field like a 10-year vet. Every time someone moves a goalpost, Shedeur casually drills a spiral right through them. It's not just a good story anymore. It's undeniable. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. This isn't just about Cleveland. This is about the entire league waking up to a new reality. The old development model is dead. Gone are the days of sit for 3 years behind a veteran and maybe you'll get your shot. Gone are the excuses about college systems or adjusting to the speed of the game. Shedeur showing everyone, GM, scouts, analysts, agents, that if a player has the right intangibles, leadership, resilience, processing speed, mental toughness, you don't wait to unleash him. You build your system around him. Now, and Shedeur, he's not just an example. He's the blueprint. That's what's making people so uncomfortable. He's blowing up the old paradigm. And some coaches, some execs, they don't know what to do with that. Because it's not just a personnel decision anymore. It's a philosophical threat, a challenge to everything they've been preaching for decades. But you can't hold back a tidal wave with a clipboard. You can't silence a revolution with depth charts. And you definitely can't ignore a quarterback who just made your entire franchise look better in 2 weeks than it has in the past 5 years. So again, here we are. The fan base is unified. The locker room is buzzing. The national media is circling like sharks. And in the middle of it all, there's Shedeur Sanders, calm, focused, and completely in control. Not because someone handed him power, because he earned it with every throw, every rep, every moment he took the high road while others tried to write him off. So, Cleveland, what are you waiting for? What more do you need to see? The Sanders era has already begun. You're just late to the ceremony. At this point, continuing to act like Shedeur Sanders isn't the clear-cut QB1 isn't just stubborn. It's delusional. And what makes it worse? The Browns know it. They're just hoping you don't realize they know. The front office is scrambling behind the scenes, trying to line up press releases and PR damage control for what's about to happen. You can feel the shift. You can smell it. The way they're now saying Shedeur has earned more opportunities. The way Flacco suddenly has a nagging issue that might keep him out of the next game. The way they're trotting Stefanski out in front of microphones with the enthusiasm of a guy delivering divorce papers to himself. It's happening. Whether they like it or not, the Shedeur Sanders era is officially underway. And no one, not Flacco, not Gabriel, not Stefanski's outdated playbook, is going to stop it. Because it's not just the throws anymore. It's not just the wins. It's the way Shedeur walks onto the field, and everything changes. The offense flows. The energy spikes. The stadium feels different. You can't coach that. You can't manufacture it. And you definitely can't fake it. Meanwhile, Gabriel's already packed his emotional bags. You can see it on his face. He's not even mad at Shedeur. He's mad at the reality that he had a shot and someone better showed up. Someone colder. Someone hungrier. And someone with the kind of leadership you can't teach. It's brutal, but it's the NFL. And the NFL doesn't wait for anyone. You either keep up or you get replaced. And Kevin Stefanski, he's running out of time. If he doesn't pull the trigger on this decision immediately, he won't be the guy coaching Shedeur Sanders through his rookie year. He'll be the guy watching on TV after getting fired for clinging to a quarterback plan that everyone else in the building already abandoned. Shedeur has done everything right. He didn't complain. He didn't campaign. He just put on the helmet, threw darts in practice, commanded the offense like a general, and made the fans believe again. He earned this. And if the Browns don't give it to him, they'll be the ones humiliated. So what do you think? Is it finally time for Cleveland to crown Shedeur? Should Stefanski be on the hot seat for dragging this out? Is Gabriel already halfway out the door? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's make it loud. And if you want more raw, unfiltered breakdowns of the NFL's biggest dramas and quarterback revolutions, smash that subscribe button. Because this isn't just a depth chart shift. It's a changing of the kingdom. And Shedeur Sanders? He's already sitting on the throne.